This is planet Earth, our home. Look how beautiful it is. Collectively as a race, we tend to forget that this planet is the very reason we exist. Currently, there is nowhere else in the universe for us to go. Nowhere else that supports life. We only have one Earth. Yes, we take it for granted. Right now, it feels like we are intent on destroying it. Right now, the Earth is terminally ill. The cancer that's ravaging it is us. For me, and I imagine many other people, climate change has never really been a huge personal concern. Sometimes I would see, hear or read something about it in the news, but it's always just been background noise. That is, until recently, when I watched Leonardo DiCaprio's climate change film, Before the Flood. At the core of this film are cold, hard facts. Facts about climate change that are happening right now. Facts that are scary.
All our modes of transportation, boats, trains, planes, cars, the way we produce our food, the way we build our cities, almost everything we do releases carbon dioxide, CO2. And that leads to climate change. The polar ice caps will melt, the seas will start to rise, there'll be more dangerous weather patterns, floods, droughts, wildfires. It sounded like some nightmarish science fiction film. Except everything he said is real, and it's happening right now.
This film did two things for me. The first was that it really opened my eyes to the fact that we've reached a tipping point. And this was the first time that that message really struck home for me. Secondly was the fact that this film could actually have such an impact on me. As a filmmaker, that was really inspiring, and I want to be able to make films that have a positive impact on the world. I want to spread good messages that people need to hear. So after watching this, I wanted to make my own film about climate change. It's not something that's going to give you loads of facts or show you the effects and the damage of climate change, but I do hope that it's interesting and it really gets you talking and thinking about this subject. I headed to the hills of South Gippsland in Victoria, Australia. Here, I met with Leon Trembath and his wife, Cathy. The life that Leon and Cathy live is very different to mine and yours. Everything is self-sustainable.
I've never liked being in the city. Never liked the hustle and bustle, the dirt and the crowds. No, never. And the only way to avoid that is to come here. I bought the land in 1975 and I built the house in 1990. I've been building this house 20 years before I started. I salvaged wood wherever I could. The doors, the light switches, the whole heap of stuff that I've reused over and over.
The wood Leon used to build his house was salvaged, light switches were recycled along with sinks. Everything here is being reused.
These boards were in packing cases from Sweden, brought over the Swedish robotic parts. So I got the planks off the boxes, profiled the edge of it, profiled the middle, and became lining board up on the wall. But the spring was broken, so I made new little springs, and that got it working again. All it wanted was a metre long piece of spring wire, cut off, made into that shape, which was pretty easy, and then put into that wood stove for 20 minutes to anneal it. And they all became usable again.
Around the land, rainwater is collected in giant tanks. It's then heated by solar power when needed.
It's hot, and if you grab hold of that, you'll feel how hot it is. In fact, don't grab it, just put your hands there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, whoa. Wow.
So that's how it goes. They're hollow, but they absorb the heat. The heat travels up, hits into this 3/4 inch copper pipe, and that's what gives us domestic hot water, and tonight we can have a hot shower.
The majority of the trees here were all planted by Leon and his family when they first bought the land. Meanwhile, the garden outside is an oasis full of fruit and vegetables.
This is the bed that'll get turned over again shortly, and this would be our autumn plant of broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower. These are table tomatoes, these here. These first dozen sticks. Carrots, green onions, basil, lettuces, thyme, beetroot, cucumbers. That's the watermelons there. Lemon trees and lime trees, grapefruit trees. That's the non-impact on planet Earth. To me, that's almost an ideal way to live.
The most impressive feature of all is how they generate their electricity.
We're still using electricity, but we're not doing it with fossil fuels. It's all coming out of the reusing the water over and over.
At a waterfall next to the house, Leon saw the potential for something amazing. At the top is a catch pond, connected to a pipe laid by Leon.
The water comes down that pipe, through the manifold and into the turbine.
The flow of water then drives magnetic plates on the turbine at the bottom of the waterfall.
You tip it over. This is what the water drives, is this magnetic plate. There's magnets on there, they're in banks of four north, four south, four north, four south, and as they pass under that massive copper wiring, just on 1,000 revolutions a minute, you get excitation, and that's where the electricity is generated and then goes up through the transmission line to the battery bank.
This turbine generates double the amount of electricity that Leon and Cathy need for free, without any impact on the environment.
Planet Earth is very sick, and we're making it sicker day by day. People they demand to have refrigeration, they demand to have air conditioning, they demand to have heating, all cost energy, and the energy comes out of dirty coal.
Do you think we've reached a point where the damage is too much? Maybe the turning point?
The turning point's long gone. We're launched. Just keep on going. Too many people want too many dollars to be dominated to somebody else, and they only get that by exploiting somebody or exploiting something. Not content to stay at home and grow veggies. For every action there's a reaction. For everything we do there's a consequence. We can all survive with less, Josh. You see, it's your group. You're the ones who are going to sit on the cusp of this. You're on the cusp now. Is it going to go over and go down? Can you pull it back? I don't know. It'll happen in your time. Won't happen in my time.
The reason I made this wasn't to say we all need to stop and live like Cathy and Leon. That would be ideal, but realistically, it's not possible. But we do really have to think a little bit more about our actions and the consequences. It starts with the little things, like not using single-use plastics, like bags at the supermarkets or McDonald's cups, turning off all your electrical appliances and lights, sharing lifts to work. All these things can help, because we have to start curbing our consumption and really change how we live. We have to be more conscious. That's something Cathy found she did when she moved in with Leon.
Definitely more conscious of the things going on around me and the things the resources that I use day to day, whether it's water or lighting the stove or power or any of that. I mean, because we're on alternative systems, we have to be more aware of it, but we choose to do that as well. You did your kettle example.
When we boil the kettle for a cup of tea, or two, we feel that it's 2 or 3 or 4 cups in it.
Okay.
And we don't put 4 cups in if you want 1.
Because I just waste more energy.
That's right.
And Cathy and I are now both proficient, almost to the drop, with 3 cups and pretty well with 4 cups.
You know, just by...
We can, yeah, but that's the conscious. It's almost not the doing it that's what's important, it's being conscious to do it that's important.
Right. And we show people who come here and visit, you know, that's a very simple way of being conscious of the resources you're using. You know, I don't need to use, you know, all of that energy to boil 4 or 5 or 6 cups of water if I only need 1. But we think about things all the time. We think about, because most of our power comes from the river, we're very aware of when it's raining or when it's not, and what the flow in the river is, and how high or strong that flow is in the river. And you know, our hot water in the summer is from solar hot water panels, unless we want to light the stove and then it's hot, which we don't like to do in the summer. And so, you know, you're aware if you've had cloudy days for 3 or 4 days because you don't have enough hot water.
Use our hot water in the morning, so it gives it a chance during the day to pick up. We don't do the dishes late in the afternoon when the sun's gone, because we can't renew that hot water. We try and do all those things early, so there's a chance of the sun renewing.
So there's little things that we pay attention to. Our systems in some way require us to. Not things that are difficult. It's not difficult to do, but you just have to think about them. It doesn't stop you from doing it. You're not restricted. You just are conscious.
Yeah.
You're aware.
There's something else Cathy said that I really liked, and that was that if this was World War III and the danger and threat was physical, if we could actually see it affecting us right now, we'd all buckle down and do whatever it takes to get through it. Like in World War II in Britain, with the rationing, the Blitz, the evacuation, enlistment, people did what they had to do because that was the only way they could survive.
Both in England and in the US, when they came in, it was, you know, all of a sudden factories and everything that were doing one thing all shifted to do something else. And it wasn't an easy process. And if, you know, you'd asked people before, they probably would have said, oh no, we can't, you know.
But because it was an emergency.
But it was an emergency and people did it.
And climate change should be seen.
Like, climate change is an emergency.
Yeah.
Climate change is an emergency.
Over the past year, my eyes have finally opened to the reality of what's happening, and I'm hoping that in my career as a filmmaker, I can make more things like this that really help get that message out. We need to change how we live on this planet. Some of you may have seen my films from Iceland, and I had this really quite profound moment at the glacial lagoon. In fact, I nearly cried because it was genuinely the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. Something really saddens me the other day. I was reading how soon that glacier will be gone. I don't know about you, but I really don't want my kids and my grandchildren to miss out on experiences like that. At the very least, I want to be able to look them in the eye and tell them I tried. It makes me so angry when millions of eyes are focused on something like the Kardashians or Jake Paul, whilst our glaciers, corals and forests disappear. It's just wrong, and we need to wake up. None of us can afford to keep climate change as background noise anymore, because right now, it is the most pressing, daunting challenge of not just our generation, but all others to follow. What we do here in the present will shape the course of the human race and planet Earth. That's a huge responsibility that we need to accept and embrace. We don't have to see this as a negative thing. Together, we can strive to make this a defining moment in the human race. Defining not because of climate change, but rather the change in the way we live. If you want to watch more about this subject and get a better understanding, I thoroughly recommend watching some of the following films. Before the Flood, the film that inspired me to make this. There's a TV series called Years of Living Dangerously, where various celebrities highlight key issues around climate change. On Netflix, I highly recommend Chasing Ice and the follow-up to that, Chasing Coral, as well as Plastic Ocean. These are beautifully made documentaries that really hit home and make you think. Finally, there's also a great film on YouTube by Oscar Boyson covering the cities of the future and how we can make them work with the environment.